Welcome back once again. This is MedText. So let's start from jaundice topic today. I'll cover in this video biochemistry and pathology of related to jaundice topic. So first of all, jaundice is also called as icterus. So it is a condition in which the skin, whites of eye, that is the sclera, and the mucous membrane turn yellow. And this condition is seen when the bilirubin content is increased to more than 2 milligrams per dl. So in here you can see the normal values of total bilirubin. That is, total means what? Conjugated plus unconjugated. That is the total bilirubin. In normal, it ranges from zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.1. Of this range, the zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.6 is the unconjugated, and zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.4 is the conjugated bilirubin. So the next one is, what are the sources of bilirubin? Sources of bilirubin include 80% is the source from destruction of RBC, that is RBC hemolysis. From the RBC hemolysis, 80% of source is seen, whereas the 20% is seen from myoglobin, catalase, and cytochromes. So cytochrome, electron transport chain and cytochrome, deoxidase, and all. So please remember 80% and 20%. The source being these two. All right, moving on. The reticuloendothelial system. Reticuloendothelial system include bone marrow, spleen, and liver. Whatever in this video I will highlight with this color, that is pink, is really very important for to solve your MCQs. So in the further, I'll be talking you about the types of jaundice, but first I'll explain what is the mechanism of formation. So in the mechanism of formation, first of all, the reticuloendothelial system, that is bone marrow, spleen, and liver, where the RBC gets destructed, but mostly in the spleen, that is called graveyard of RBC, right? After 120 days. So what happens is that the RBC will release heme and hemoglobin, right? Heme and globin. So the heme, with the enzyme called heme oxygenase, it will get transformed to biliverdin. Biliverdin is also a pigment, but we are concerned about bilirubin. So the biliverdin gets converted to bilirubin with the help of an enzyme called as biliverdin reductase. Biliverdin reductase. So this bilirubin in the reticuloendothelial system now it comes to the blood serum. This is the blood serum. In the blood serum, what do we have? Blood proteins, right? So one of the blood protein being albumin, which is really very important, it combines with that and it gets transported with the help of this to the hepatocyte, that is liver cell. So in the liver cell, there is albumin receptor, so it gets bind to albumin, whereas the bilirubin is this bilirubin, please note over here that this bilirubin is unconjugated bilirubin. Unconjugated bilirubin. Please note, it's really very, very important. So now that the bilirubin comes inside the hepatocyte with the help of an enzyme called UDPGT, glucuronide transferase, UDP glucuronide transferase, with the help of this enzyme, it gets conjugated. Now the unconjugated bilirubin gets conjugated. So later on, what happens is that it gets to the bile. Through the bile, it is coming inside the gut, and now being inside the gut, the conjugated bilirubin with the help of certain bacteria can form urobilin. Urobilin. Now this urobilin is excreted in the feces. In some cases, not in some, but in most cases, what happens is that the the unconjugated bilirubin. over here, before getting conjugated, can return back to the circulation and can enter the brain, and there it causes kernicterus. There is a pathology named kernicterus. Please note. Whereas the unconjugated bilirubin in the placenta, that is inside a neonate, what happens is that it crosses through the placenta and moves to the maternal blood circulation. There, the liver will metabolize this uh, unconjugated bilirubin into conjugated one with the help of an enzyme called as UDP glucuronyl transferase. UDP glucuronyl transferase. Please remember this enzyme. It's really, really very, very important. So the summary of what I just said in 2 minutes before, I'll sum up with this picture. It's really very, very good picture. So as I said, the reticuloendothelial system, liver, RBC, liver, spleen, and bone marrow will destruct RBCs to hemoglobin. Now from heme you got unconjugated bilirubin. This unconjugated bilirubin combines with albumin in the bloodstream, that is blood serum, and this unconjugated bilirubin albumin complex. This is the name of when albumin combines with unconjugated bilirubin. Later, what happens is that it enters the liver. It enters the liver, and you, with the help of this enzyme, as I said, uridine glucuronyl transferase, it gets conjugated. That is direct bilirubin. Unconjugated means indirect. Conjugated means direct. Now, this conjugated bilirubin is excreted with the bile, and in the gut there is bacteria which convert it into urobilinogen. Now, the story is really very important over here. You guys have to remember what happens at this stage. So what happens is that the urobilinogen, 80% of which is excreted in the feces, giving brown color to feces. That is called as stercobilin. From the urobilinogen, you got stercobilin. From the urobilinogen, you got urobilin. That is giving yellowish color to the urine. And the 18% of it gets to the enterohepatic circulation, as I already mentioned over here. Please note. All right, now that you have known the metabolism, like mechanism of development, now I would like to tell you about the types of jaundice. Types of jaundice. There are 3 types of jaundices. So let's get through it one by one. Please remember, these 3 jaundices are you'll get in the exams very, very frequently. Very, very frequently asked questions. Let it be any type of examination, entrance exams or croak exams or any of the exams. So I would like to tell you first with the hemolytic jaundice. Hemolytic, hemolytic, in the name only you have now that the hemolysis of RBC, excessive hemolysis of RBC will be to that extent that this enzyme is not able to convert the unconjugated bilirubin to conjugated one. The rate of bilirubin production, that is unconjugated, will be higher when compared to conjugated. So in the blood serum, you get to find unconjugated bilirubin increase. Another name of this type of jaundice is prehepatic jaundice, because it is uh, it is all going on before the liver, right? Before the liver shows its role, it's happening. So it's called as prehepatic jaundice. Easy? Easy. Now, what happens with the urine? Now that the unconjugated bilirubin is increased, this unconjugated bilirubin will give darker urine color, darker brown feces. So increase of urobilin, increase of stercobilin. These are the 3 laboratory indexes. When you find in a report, you can estimate it as a hemolytic jaundice. Now, what are the associated pathologies connected to this hemolytic jaundice? The associated pathologies include hereditary disorders, like Gilbert syndrome, Crigler-Najjar syndrome 1 and syndrome 2. Now what happens in this syndrome is that there is enzyme defect. So if the enzyme is defect, what enzyme is defect? Uridyl glucuronidase transferase. Now that if this enzyme is in defect, what happens is that the unconjugated bilirubin cannot be conjugated. So this syndrome develops. Please remember just the names, the pathologies connected to this, that is Gilbert syndrome and Crigler-Najjar syndrome. Now, the other associated acquired defects include certain drugs, hepatitis, cirrhosis, liver cirrhosis are also connected to this pathology. Then we have neonatal jaundice, as I already mentioned over here. In the neonatal jaundice, this unconjugated bilirubin is increased, so it can go to the brain or it can pass to the maternal circulation. So if it is increased in the newborn, so it is called as neonatal jaundice. Neonatal jaundice. And as I said, in the brain, it can cause kernicterus. All right, moving on further to the next type of jaundice, that is parenchymatous jaundice. Parenchymatous jaundice or hepatocellular jaundice or hepatic jaundice. These names, please remember these names. It's really very easy to remember, so that the pathology lies in the liver. In this, hepatic means what? Liver. So in this, what happens is that what are the causes of the development is there is dysfunction of liver cells, parenchymal liver cells. It can be the most prominent cause being the viral infection, viral hepatitis. Viral hepatitis is the most common cause, please remember. Then the other causes include poisons, toxins, chloroform, carbon tetrachloride, phosphorus, etc. But for you to remember is viral hepatitis. Now, what will be with the index of the blood? What happens is that there is elevated levels of ALT and AST. ALT and AST. These are released into the circulation due to the damage to hepatocytes. So this index is really very important when it is concerned with hepatocellular jaundice. Now, what will be with the serum levels? Now, the serum levels, as there is damage to the liver, it affects the bilirubin uptake. Like the bilirubin uptake into the gut, it is affected. So, and its conjugation by liver cells. Inside the liver only there is conjugation, right? So there is conjugation affected, uptake of conjugated bilirubin is affected. So what happens is that there is elevation of both conjugated and unconjugated bilirubin is elevated. So please remember this. It's really, really important. Now, what are the indexes in urine? Now that the bilirubin content is really very high, there is content increase of urobilinogen in urine. So darker color of urine. And whereas in feces, there will be absent or less amount of stercobilin. We can't say that there is complete absence, but there can be less or less. All right. Then what are the associated pathologies? It can be higher or it can be lesser, but the initiative pathologies include nausea and anorexia, that is loss of appetite. Weight loss can be seen in this type of jaundice. Now, coming to the last type of jaundice, that is the obstructive jaundice. In the name itself, you have that there is certain obstruction in the bile duct. Now, if there is obstruction in the bile duct, the bile cannot flow into the gut. Now, if the bile cannot flow into the gut, what does bile do? Bile does the emulsification of fats. Now, if the fats are not emulsified, that is not digested, in the stools, you can see there is increased amount of fatty stools. So there is increased amount of fatty stools in this type of jaundice. That is called as steatorrhea. The term for this is named as steatorrhea. All right, now let's talk about the causes. The obstructive jaundice is also called as post-hepatic or mechanical jaundice. Mechanical, why is it called? Because there is certain obstruction or mechanical injury. There can be a mechanical injury also. So, as I said, there is obstruction in the bile duct that prevents the passage of bile into the intestine. The obstruction may be caused by the gallstones, most commonly cholelithiasis. That is called as cholelithiasis. Cholelithiasis. All right. Tumors, carcinoma of head of pancreas, primary biliary cirrhosis, or primary sclerosing cholangitis may progress to liver cirrhosis. These are other pathologies which are connected to the obstructive jaundice. These pathologies are connected to the obstructive jaundice. All right. So what happens is that in the serum you can find there is disturbance in what post hepatic. So there will be increased content of conjugated bilirubin. Conjugated bilirubin. And there is another index that there is increased level of alkaline phosphatase enzyme. This alkaline phosphatase, as it is released from the cells of damaged bile duct. So in the blood serum, you can find that there is increased level of alkaline phosphatase also. Now in the urine, as I mentioned already earlier, that so in the urine there is increased amount of urobilinogen, whereas the feces have absence of sarcobilin, and the steatorrhea already I mentioned. Now, what are the associated pathologies connected to this? Is that Dubin-Johnson syndrome, Rotar syndrome, and benign familial recurrent cholestasis. So these are the connected pathologies to obstructive jaundice. Please remember whatever is highlighted in this with pink color. Please remember this. It's really very important for your exams. At least one or two questions can be asked from this topic. So that's all for today. Hope you like my video. Please subscribe and share as much as possible. Thank you for watching.